Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing good, and I understand that since the prelims is coming near, I can know that you people are highly anxious, you people are feeling the heat and you are nervous. But let me tell you, that is very common even amongst every genuine aspirant across the country. Even a person who's got All India Rank 1 did not know whether that person would have cleared prelims or not. So embrace this uncertainty. Don't try to seek for something that is not there, and that is certainty. You just believe in the process. Don't worry about the outcome. Keep doing your job consistently, and everything will turn out good. With that belief, you should keep preparing well, and I hope you take care of your health as well. This video is mainly for those students who are not doing the mock tests as per the requirement of the exam. Now, when I say who are not doing the mock tests, these are few mistakes that most of my students are committing. One, they are highly obsessed with the marks and not the process. The second, they are highly obsessed with some books. They feel that by studying those books, they'll get good marks, and in that endeavor, they are searching for those books which are not there. They expect magical advices from the mentors. Just by listening to those advices, they feel that they'll get good marks. That is again not true. The last is they are too lazy and they are looking for shortcuts in order to get good marks in prelims, especially by learning some tricks which may work, which may also not work. These are a few mistakes that are committed by most of my students who are taking mock tests. Now let me tell you that when you take mock tests, it is very important and pertinent that you don't worry about the marks, you don't compare your marks with the others, but you try to recognize your weaknesses. I have told this hundreds of times, but students still commit the same mistake of being obsessed with the marks rather than with the process and constantly comparing it with their peers. Now, I have come out with this video to exactly tell you to pinpoint what you need to do after taking the test. Once you take the mock test, you have to sit and analyze each and every answer, why it went wrong. For your convenience, I am showing you one of my students who has done that analysis. As you can see in the screen, these are the questions that my student has gone wrong while taking a test. As you can see, every question is gone thoroughly and he has analyzed why the questions went wrong. It includes 38 questions in a particular test that went wrong. As you can see, the reasons why it went wrong is changing. In a few questions, there is overthinking or overanalysis. In a few questions, basics were not correct. In a few questions, the logic did not work. In a few questions, there are very silly mistakes. In a few questions, there are lack of revisions, that is LOR that the student has written. In a few questions, there is a bubbling mistake. Okay, so like this, there is a lot of excuses or reasons why a question can go wrong, and this is how you have to sit and analyze the mistakes that you have made in a particular test. Now, when you do this, look at this carefully. As you can see in this list, my student has gone wrong in 38 questions. So that comes up to minus 25 marks. So I am accounting the number of negative marks that my student has gone wrong. But I don't care about the marks that person gets. But by looking at this 38 questions that have gone wrong, what you should know at the first level is, look at all those questions where I have bubbled next to the number with blue ink. These are the questions where any student should not go wrong at all. Now, as you can see, the bubbling is like this, did not read the question properly, or it can be the basics I have forgotten, it can be again the basics I have forgotten, or it can be I read the question in an hurry, or you can see that there are lack of revisions, there is lack of revision, there is bubbling mistake. Can you see these are the level 1 mistakes that you need to correct yourself in the mock test the next time that you take. Now let us assume, if you count the number of blue color bubbles that I have done, that a student should not have committed, that comes up to almost 10 questions. So 10 questions out of 38 questions, a student has committed a basic level mistake. Now the 10 questions, if the student has not committed, then the 10 questions is equal to 10 into 2, that is 20 marks. Plus if you account for the negative marks that has gone, it will come up to 26.6 marks. Just by correcting one's methodology of approach to the paper in these 10 questions, that student is able to gain in the next mock test an extra 26.6 marks, and this introspection is what is needed for every mock test. So this student, in the next test, if they correct that 10 extra questions, the marks is going to boost. Over a period of time, when the student will make sure that student correct himself or herself with respect to how to stop overthinking, how to stop overanalyzing, then most of the questions will go correct. This is the power of introspection that I keep telling you about. This is something that I want you people to sit and find out where your weaknesses lie. No one is doing this. Everyone wants just marks. If this is the case, then it will not happen. If you have to get good marks, trust the process. You are your best mentor, you are your best teacher, and you are the only one who can identify your exact problems. Only if you diagnose that problem, you can correct yourself by a medicine called appropriate corrections and revisions. I hope you are understanding this. Each and everyone will have a unique set of problems like identifying this list. No two lists will be the same. Two students will have two different lists. So we cannot generically tell that do this and it will work, and that specificity will come only by you sitting and analyzing where you're lagging behind and what are your weaknesses, and that can only come by doing this, that is sitting with the question paper, looking at all the wrong answers and analyzing why it went wrong. By doing that, I understand the first order mistakes, then understand the second order mistakes. The first order mistakes are something that you should correct by the next test itself. The second order mistake, as you can see here, the problem with the second order mistake in this student is overthinking, overanalyzing. These are some things that will come with time. You cannot correct the overthinking and overanalyzing just like that. It takes time for you to limit your way of thinking or the line of thought so that you don't overanalyze. So that will take time. So the first order corrections should be done very quickly. That is, if you're reading the questions very fast, slow it down. If you're not reading the question completely, then make sure that you read it properly. If you're doing questions in basics, make sure that you don't, you consciously, answer the basic questions properly. If you have done lack of revisions, then keep doing revisions. These are the first order corrections that you need to do very quickly. The second order corrections are something that will come in time when you keep solving mocks. But what is very important is for you to track these corrections, and automatically if you track these corrections, your marks will boost. This is how a mock test is made effective to boost your preparation and to make you clear this prelims exam. It really doesn't matter if a candidate is scoring very well or very low in mock tests. It is important, pertinent that that student understands the process well. Now, as you can see in the same list, there are a few questions where my student has written logic not worked. I hope you can see that. That is something that is excusable. So let us assume that for the next 40 questions, you've gone wrong, and the only excuse that you're writing in the list is I put a logic but the logic did not work, or I put common sense but the common sense did not prevail. This is something that is excusable because in the mock test it may not work, but the logical thinking and common sense will work in UPSC exams. So please don't get disheartened if the excuse for the questions that you're going wrong is you applying one logic and the logic applied on that side was different, or you applying common sense and the common sense applied there was, the common sense did not prevail from the other side. So I hope you understood how to make your mock test work for you effectively. It is not about the marks that you get. It is not about the content that you read. It is always about the process and how you correct yourself to learn the process that is in lines with the demand of this exam. So I hope you have learned it. Many students after taking the mock test, one, either they are obsessed with the marks. I hope they are not anymore. Second, they are obsessed with learning. Most of them are collecting solution copies and have already bundled their solution copies to such an extent that it becomes very difficult for them to revise them. Don't do this. If you take a mock test for 1.5 hours, you spend just 1 hour in order to introspect yourself and learn something new. And even if you learn something new, don't mark it in the solution copy and keep, write it somewhere in the book and keep. So at the end of the day, Whatever mock test that you take, everything should be in one small book with, let's say, 10 to 15 pages that you can revise at the end of the day, and not marking everything in the solution copy and keeping, and then studying that solution copy itself as a book at the end of the day. Don't do this mistake. The next is, when you're done with the mock test, after doing the mock test, don't worry about reading each and every question line by line in the solution copy. Only look at those things, which are things that you've gone wrong, those questions that you've gone wrong. So identify why you went wrong and get that new information. The second is, identify those questions which overlaps with your recurring themes in your UPSC exam. For example, if the question is on Buddhism, Jainism, renewable energy, or if it is on corals, alright, if it is on president, if it is on any constitutional bodies, these are some things which recurs in the exam, in the UPSC exam. So you know that it is important for you to build more depth in those topics, and only on those topics you can refer the solution copy in detail. Skip all the other questions just because an information is new, but you know that it is not concurrent with the type of question that is asked in UPSC. Don't sit and just by heart or try to learn that concept because it is something new and interesting for you. Always make sure that you either take the information which is overlapping with your recurring themes, or identify the information on those questions that have went wrong. Others, just skip it. Okay. So I hope you take more and more mock tests. And now I hope you've gotten the clarity of how to make the mock test work for you. If you don't do this critical analysis and introspection, you are not effectively using the mock test. You are not effectively understanding the process required for this exam. You are not diagnosing the problem, and if you don't diagnose the problem, you will not be able to treat the problem. Identifying the weaknesses is very important, and this is the first step for it. As I told you, from the list you will get the first order problem and the second order problem. The first order problem should be done very quickly. The second order problem will take time. So I hope you understood this, and I hope from the next test, stop being lazy. Stop looking for shortcuts, sit with yourself, identify the problem and identify your weaknesses and work on it. I hope I have been clear. Please take the mock test daily basis. What you read in your revisions has nothing to do with the mock tests. Every day now is the time where you take full length tests. And when you take full length tests, keep a OMR sheet and take the tests in exam-like conditions, and make sure that you apply all the risks possible and introspect as much as possible. I hope it was helpful, guys. Keep taking the mock test. Again, don't get obsessed with the marks. Don't compare your marks with others. Understand the game and the process. Understand your weaknesses and correct that. And if you do that, no one will be able to stop you from clearing prelims. I hope this session was helpful, and I hope you got the methodology of how to make the mock test work for you, and not you doing the work on mock tests and getting nothing out of it. I hope it helps, guys. I'll come up with more videos for the upcoming prelims exam. Keep studying. Take care of your health. Bye, guys.